Welcome. It's 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. The Tooele City Council and Redevelopment Agency of Tooele City are meeting in a work meeting. This meeting is being held in the council chambers located at 90 North Main Street in Tooele, Utah. We are also streaming this electronically on the Tooele City YouTube channel. We will have a roll call. Councilwoman Manzione.
Present.
Councilwoman Goches.
Present.
Councilman McCall.
Present.
Councilman Hanson.
Present.
He's joining us by phone. We're having some phone issues. And I'm Councilman Brady, and I'm present. We'll move on to item 3, the mayor's report.
Thank you, Chairman and Council. Tonight I just wanted to present to you just a little bit on some information and events that we have had. Today we had a wonderful ribbon cutting at the U-Haul store that is now open on the north end of Main Street. They are a full-service moving and storage company. So I think, you know, we've watched now. It took a couple of years since they started moving dirt to get these buildings. They're huge buildings, and we weren't really sure what everything was. But they have climatized storage. They also have the ability to store many of those pods that people will rent from them, take them to their house, fill them up, and then U-Haul comes back and picks them up and stores them in a building and then delivers them to their new home. So they also offer all kinds of moving supplies. I mean, lots of stuff was down there, wrapping in boxes and all of this stuff. But they were just very welcoming. They're happy to be in Tooele City. There is another storage facility that they have in the Salt Lake Valley that is storage for some of those pod boxes that they're closing down. And they're going to be moving their storage out here. So they expect to be very, very busy. So we're just really happy to have them located in our city. Also, last Thursday, Kennecott Rio Tinto held a visitor experience for Tooele County residents. Any of the residents of the valley could get online and get free tickets to go into their visitor center, but we all met in the parking lot there, and they take us by bus up to the Kennecott mine. And you know, those of us that live on this side of the mountain, many of us have driven up Middle Canyon and looked at the overlook. It's a lot bigger from the other side. You can't see how big and deep it is as much from this side as you can on the other side. And it was so fascinating. But we are partnering with Kennecott. They are giving us some generous grants to help us with our Tooele Valley Museum. And we will be working with them to help educate the public on how important that mine is to really all over the world. Copper and the other things that they get out of that mine are sold all around the world. But we learned that we don't have cell phones without what they produce in that mine, and many other things. So we're really excited to have them as a partner, and the tour was just great. You can get on their website and get tickets. You know, they only sell or do so many a day, but anybody can go and see that, and I would encourage anyone. It was a great family experience and very educational. The last is, I just want to express my appreciation to our police and our fire department. Last council meeting, you'll remember what my mayor's report was about, asking residents to please stay off the roads when there is an emergency and get out of the way for emergency vehicles. And it wasn't even an hour later after I gave that little presentation that we had another fire call. And it wasn't as bad. This one wasn't as bad as far as getting there. Our firemen and our law enforcement were able to get there quicker, but I tell you that this was a shed fire, and they saved all of the homes that were around it. There were 5 homes that kind of backed onto that area. And if you look at the pictures, the fire was huge, but they were able to save all of those homes. I'm just very proud of our police and our fire. They are the best, so we appreciate them. And then just the other morning, we had another fire in the middle of the night. So we're just grateful that we have such trained professionals there to help our residents in unfortunate incidents. And the last is, I want to express my appreciation to the crossing guards. School has started on Monday, and I happened to be driving right through an area where the crossing guards were just getting there and setting up, and I rolled my window down to just say hi to one of them, and there was a child there, and she was so kind to that child and said, "Are you excited for today?" I heard her say, and I thought, those people are exceptional at what they do to stand out there. I mean, I'm sure it's hot at the end of the day. It was hot today, but even in the winter, it's freezing cold, and those dedicated people are helping our kids get across the street, and I appreciate them very much for what they do. And then you as residents, if you're driving in any of those school zones, please watch for kids. Please stay off your phone and be very attentive and make sure that our kiddos can get to school and be safe. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Move on to item 4, the council members' report. We'll start with Councilman McCall.
I also attended the ribbon cutting today at the storage facility. And the mayor, I have to echo what she said, it was interesting. And I'm just taken with the fact that if you don't have a hitch on your car, they'll be able to put one on it for you. And they sell all those supplies as well. We met with the RDA, we met with a couple of clients since the last meeting. Attended the Arts Council meeting last Wednesday. And I also attended that Rio Tinto tour. And I want to say, would like to say that if you go up Middle Canyon, and when you could do it and look down in the pit, from Middle Canyon you can't see the bottom. On the other side, well, let's just say Middle Canyon is a lot higher than the other side. I mean, from the other side, you're looking up at the area that you look for at Middle Canyon. Totally scarier, but it is interesting. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilman Hanson said he doesn't have anything to report tonight. Councilwoman Goches?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Mayor. I also attended the tour of the Rio Tinto Kennecott Community Day, and it was a really great experience, and they do great things. It was a fun tour. I attended the ribbon cutting for the Stansbury Junior High School and echo what the mayor said about the crossing guards. They do a great job, and it's really fun that it's back to school. I also attended the U-Haul ribbon cutting today, and so just a lot of good things that are happening in Tooele. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Manzione?
Thank you. I went to the same things, Rio Tinto and U-Haul. I did take my grandkids to the Rio Tinto tour, though, and it was family-friendly. They really enjoyed it, so I would encourage people to go out there and take a look. And they help our community a lot. One other thing I wanted to report on was my WFRC Active Transportation Committee meeting. The last meeting, it was last week, I think, and they talked about two kind of big, they were healthy discussion topics. One was on an HB 290, which is a new law about parking in bike lanes, and talked about the necessity of bike lanes in a city, both for safety but as well as traffic calming. A lot of good discussion. We don't have a lot of bike lanes in Tooele City, but one of the statistics they threw out was when you add bike lanes, it increases local shopping from 21 to 171%, because there are studies that show that people who are on their bikes stop more often to shop. So I thought that was an interesting statistic. And then the other one was it was West Jordan City presented, but it was a traffic slowing study, I guess. I don't know what they called it exactly. I don't remember. But they have more speed bumps in West Jordan than any other city in Utah, apparently. So they wanted to know if that was really the best method, to slow traffic. It was a fascinating conversation. So speed bumps and raised crosswalks are the most, in their study, most effective and least costly ways to slow traffic. Roundabouts are the most safe and cause the least amount of accidents, which was surprising to me because some people say they cause accidents. But if you have a chance to go back, it's maybe a 30-minute discussion. It was really interesting, all the things. They even went so far as to take their study to a different city and have them, play around with it, kind of make it a game to see so that it would be more unbiased. But they have some great statistics and some charts and graphs that were really interesting. And, we've had that conversation here in Tooele a lot about speeding in neighborhoods, and I thought it was an interesting conversation. So that's all I've got. Thanks.
Thank you. I attended my weekly, I missed this last week of staff meeting, but the week before I was able to attend. And once again, just like to echo that, appreciate the staff and all they do. Tomorrow night, we have the North Tooele Special Service District meeting. Love seeing the flowers down there in the roundabout and how well taken care of things are. There's some dead grass down there we're aware that that's an issue. They have gophers and voles, I think, that get in and chew the wire up. So that is being addressed. I've had a lot of people ask about why the grass is dead down there, but that's why. And then that concludes my report. We'll move on to our discussion items. Our first discussion item is Resolution 2025-71, a resolution of the Tooele City Council authorizing payment of fee in lieu of water rights conveyance for Advanced Spine and Pain located near 2400 North, 400 East, presented by John Perez, the Economic Development Director.
Good evening, Council. This request comes from Physicians Accounting and Management Systems. The representative is Brent Davis, and he's requesting 1.2 acre feet of water. And it's important to note, this is a phase 1 and phase 2 project. So the first phase is about 0.7 acre feet, and then the second phase is about 0.5, but we just kind of lumped it together, so that's why it comes to the 1.2. And if you look at kind of the policy considerations, they're saying that with the new phase, it'll create an estimated 8 full-time jobs with average remuneration of $48,000 annually, and then you'll see capital investment of approximately $8 million. And that Exhibit A is that letter from Physicians Accounting and Management, and it restates exactly the square footage, the employees, the wages, and then the requested amount. And they also talk about how, water-wise, zero escape, things we want to see. We don't want to see grass, right? And also in Exhibit B, you'll see the fee in lieu policy revised since November 2023. That calendar year total is 50. And this 1.2 falls well below that, even considering since the start of this calendar year. Do you have any questions?
I have a couple questions. Before, do you know what the timeline is for the phases? 'Cause I didn't see that in the letter. It could be in the letter and I missed it, but.
I don't believe, no, it didn't say exactly when the phase 2 will be. So if you wanted to have some sort of expiry in there that says if there's no vertical construction within that time frame, we could do that if you wanted to.
That's what I was going to ask, because we were having that in there automatically. So if,
Okay.
I think it was a 2-year something.
Yeah,
I think it was 2 years.
we can do that.
I don't know that it matters in this case. It's a really small amount, but I think it's good to be consistent, and I
Okay.
think it doesn't encumber our water. They can
Yeah.
always come back and ask for an extension, but,
Right.
so, those were my only questions.
Any other questions or comments? I don't know Dr. Ware personally, but I know there's a lot of people in the community who go there. I do hear about
Right.
that quite frequently. So it's great to see that his practice is growing. I know the location where they're at now is less than ideal. It's in
Yeah.
that Chubby's, across from Chubby's parking lot. So, yeah, I think this is great and, yeah, good use of water. Okay. If there's nothing else, we'll move on to our next discussion item. Resolution 2025-73, a resolution of the Tooele City Council authorizing payment of fee in lieu of water rights conveyance for Grow Development LLC located at 249 East, 1000 North, presented by John Perez, the Economic Development Director.
Yes, so this is a request for 7 acre feet of water. This is from Grow Development. This is for that development that's just east of the fire station, just to the north of the Is it Beehive? assisted?
Our house.
Our House Assisted Living, just north of there. And in the letter, you'll see that they're requesting the 7 acre-feet of water. They're saying creation of 130 full-time jobs when this is completely built, and then average wages of $55,000 annually, and a total capital investment of approximately $30 million. And you'll see that's basically what's stated in that Exhibit A in the letter. And then in Exhibit C, there's a kind of a PowerPoint that they put together, and it just gives some background on Grow Development and that it's been around for 40 years and that they have projects in 4 different counties across Utah. And apparently they're well known. Andrew, when he was in Riverton, said that, he's dealt with them before, so they've been around for quite some time. And then they just kind of restate the letter in that second half of Exhibit C. And same thing, if we want, we can put in that, 2-year expiry for the vertical construction as well, if you guys are open to that or wanting that.
I think we should always have that, yes.
Maybe for them 1 year, since we want to see some
Yeah.
progress on that road, right? But
Any questions or comments? So these warehouses, I think when we rezoned it,
yeah,
it didn't seem like there would be
Much water.
much water. Does that seem like a large amount, or is that
well,
reasonable?
Paul confirmed it for the whole, the whole development is when it's completely, all the phases are
Okay.
done. So, and there's no timeline for those phases, but this is supposed to take into consideration the landscaping and then once it's completely done.
Okay,
But yeah, it's kind of a similar look or setup to the existing kind of flex space that's on, what is that, 80 East by just southeast of Quick Quack over there, to where they're kind of set up to where when you walk in, each space is, it almost is like a garage, but I don't want to say that, but that kind of look, and then they just each have like, some have an individual restroom and some don't, but to my understanding, this one would. That one has like a communal, which apparently that hasn't worked so great, so this is supposed to be better.
okay. And then they estimate a number of jobs. I get it's an estimation.
Yeah.
But the way these were described, it was more like local people that are
Yeah.
kind of outgrowing the space that they've had. So
Yeah.
do they anticipate, like, they must anticipate new jobs coming too, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay,
It, like, for example, there's, in that flex space that I'm talking about in 80 East, it's called KCM Cable, and they're contracted with 47G, and they started like in one space there, and then I met with them, and they said they had just expanded to 2, and then now we were able to get them a grant from the county, and then now they're expanding to 3, but then, they could need 4, and then maybe something larger, like it, when this is done, would suit them better, so, and then, they're obviously able to up the number of employees, so I think it'll be great.
okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Then our last discussion item is a discussion on diagonal parking on Broadway near Hometown Bakery, presented by John Perez, the Economic Development Director.
Loretta, are you able to pull up the measurement picture? There we go. So you'll see in your packet provided is the Chapter 16 zoning, and this area that we're talking about falls under mixed-use Broadway. So we'll back up for a second. There is a business owner in this area that is requesting that diagonal parking be added on the west half of Broadway from Elm to Vine. And if you've been around the museum anytime recently, you've probably seen there's actually some kind of temporary, I don't know if you want to call it paint, it looks more like chalk, but I guess it's some kind of paint near the museum for diagonal parking. But basically, the business owner is saying that in the evening, there's quite a bit of action at the local drinking establishments that is hindering access to her business. So she thinks this is a great idea to kind of help mobility in those evening hours to her business. So going back to the zoning, you'll see, like I said, mixed-use Broadway, it's MU8. And then if you go a little bit further back in the zoning, you'll see there's a chart, and it lists off-street it says off-street parking requirements and then location of required off-street parking spaces. And now Andrew can correct me if I'm wrong, but to my understanding, it's different based on square footage of establishment. However, there's no requirements for on-street parking in this type of zone. So really, it's council discretion if you guys wanted to permit this in this zone. And, if we wanted to have some sort of time-bound, expiry date on, it could be tried out for this and removed. It's my understanding that we could do that as well, kind of like a trial. But you'll see up there in those measurements, Paul, the city engineer, put that together. So you'll see with the vertical parking, the vertical parallel parking that's on the east side, and then the diagonal parking that's on the west side, it wouldn't start until after that driveway, which you can kind of see that little gray spot where the white car is. It wouldn't start until after there because it can't block access, and then it can't be within 20 feet of an intersection, which if it started right there, that would block her driveway. So it wouldn't start until after that driveway, and then it would go down to Vine. And then with both of these parking, it would be 27 feet that would leave. And to my understanding, Chief McCoy reviewed that and didn't have any pushback, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he is concerned.
Oh, he is concerned.
Yeah, 27 feet you can drive a fire truck down there, but if there's a fire and you have parking on both sides of the street, like it is shown in the diagram, there's not room for the outriggers to come out and make that fire truck stationary so they can fight a fire. So that is a concern. It's pretty close there.
Yeah, so if it was full on both sides, I guess it would be somewhat of a concern. I don't know if it's ever that full.
Well, so you could do diagonal parking there, but then you'd probably
Remove.
take the parking off the other side, which kind of defeats the whole purpose. So this is a difficult one. Public safety and convenience for customers, and of course, we want to have our businesses be successful. We want them to succeed. I don't know if the diagonal parking is the answer. Maybe we could come up with something else, but 27, it's a wide road. Broadway's a really wide road. But unfortunately, again, you've got three businesses on three of those corners. I guess if you turned the empty lot there into a parking lot, people would probably park there, but I don't know if they want to walk across the street. They'd have to walk clear across the street. So that's just another option. But when, the other establishments have many customers and they're parking all around the third retail store there and the market, then there's nowhere that's close for her customers. So I totally understand how she feels. I just don't know that that's the answer.
Couldn't the people attending other locations still use those parking spots, though? Like, just because they're diagonal doesn't mean no one's going to park there.
Right. Yeah, anybody can use it.
They could still.
Yeah, it's not just for Hometown Bakery.
And really, the others don't have parking either. A few places. The one would have parking behind it, maybe. I don't even know if that one has parking behind it. But the Venus Club has a few along the side, so their only, hope is to park on the street. That's where they park. But you're fully aware that Tooele City now owns 7 parcels right near that area. And maybe it is time that we find a way to help the area, and maybe it is a parking lot that we put in to allow parking for all of those establishments rather than have them park on the street. It would be a public service. It would be open to the public as the parking, but that may be something that we need to look into.
Who owns the lot directly across from the bakery? Because it's open. It's empty.
The empty lot there, I do believe that it is owned by the same people that own the bakery.
I think so.
Because there's nothing there.
No, sometimes you see some cars over there.
Right, I know cars parking there at night,
Yeah,
but I'm just thinking that would be closer to everything. It will be closer to the two establishments to the north on both sides of the street, be close to the bakery.
Yeah.
And it's not that far from the establishment to the south.
yeah. I mean,
So
or
technically,
we could
everybody
try
could park there.
removing, we could try doing no parallel parking and trying the diagonal too. That's an option, because then that would make it wider.
I think it might be beneficial to call in the owners of all three of those
Yeah.
establishments and talk to them and say, what would work for your customers? And like I say, we have a benefit because we do own property very close to there, right there on Broadway. And even if it's a temporary parking lot that we don't, I mean, you can always tear up asphalt later and do something else. But if the property is just not being used, we may look into providing parking for them, somehow do a partnership with them.
Okay, any other discussion, questions, comments?
I think it's worth talking to all of the property owners together,
I agree.
because I think they do need some parking.
Yeah, they do.
And it is a historic district, and we sponsor events there.
Right.
So I think it would be wise if the city partnered or provided parking. It would be in our best interest to be able
Yeah.
to provide additional parking.
Okay,
We'll make it happen.
sounds great. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our discussion items. We do have a closed meeting tonight to discuss litigation and property acquisition. I will entertain a motion to move to a closed meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Goches and a second from Councilman McCall. We'll take it to a vote. Councilman McCall?
Aye.
Councilman Hanson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Goches?
Aye.
Councilwoman Manzione?
Aye.
I'm Councilman Brady, and I vote aye. That passes 5-0. It's 5:57 PM. We'll recess here and reconvene in the large conference room.